Welcome to the Clinton Presidential Center. My name is Stephanie Street, and I serve as the Executive Director of the Clinton Foundation. And let me just say on behalf of all the staff here from the National Archives, from the Foundation, we are just thrilled to host this incredible program once again, Fusion Arts and Humanities Arkansas. Before we begin, I'd like to recognize a few of our special guests that are here with us today. We are honored that Congressman Hill, who you'll be hearing from in just a few moments, has taken time from his incredibly busy schedule to join us and speak to you today. We are also very pleased to have with us the Honorary Consul General of France. We are honored to have the Beatrice Moore and her husband Shelby. And we are really pleased once again to have Alexa Andres, the Consul General of France, who is in Houston, Texas, and he was able to join us last night, and we're so grateful that you've stayed over and are joining us again this morning. So really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here as well. So let's give him a round of applause. I know that many of you were able to join us last night for our wonderful symposium and performances, and let me just say, I was just so proud of all the work that's been done to put this incredible symposium and the exhibit together. It is just exciting. I want to say a few other thank yous to the Early Arkansas Reenactors Association. I think you probably saw them outside here. Thank you so much for your dedication to preserving Arkansas's history. A very special thank you to my colleagues here from the National Archives and to David Ferriero, the Archivist of the United States, for allowing us to have these three incredible historic documents here, the three original Louisiana Purchase Treaty documents that are currently part of our temporary exhibit, The Great Expedition, exploring the Louisiana Purchase and its impact on Arkansas. And again, I'd like to recognize and thank Khaki Hockersmith. Where are you, Khaki? In the back. Khaki's been working for a year putting this entire program together, and she is just incredible. Her attention to detail, Khaki, we're very, very grateful to you for all of your incredible work too. And we wouldn't even be having this if this weren't for the generous sponsorship of the Quapaw tribe who endowed this program, and so we are grateful to them as well. And I'd like to also, of course, thank each and every one of you. Thank you for embracing Fusion. It has a very specific and important mission to promote heritage and culture and celebrate human achievement by weaving the arts and the humanities together. I hope that Fusion gives you new insight to take in your classroom and tools that you can implement with your students as well. As I said last night, this program and this right here, this gathering, I think is exactly what President Clinton had in mind when he was envisioning the Clinton Presidential Center and its impact on the citizens of this state. You know, he had a lot of different options of where to put the center, but he has always said that, first of all, he would have never become president without the people of Arkansas, and he hoped by putting this, the Clinton Center in the middle of the country, people that normally wouldn't have access to Washington, D.C., or to the National Archives, or to the White House, or going to Capitol Hill, can experience history firsthand right here in Little Rock. So we hope to be the gift that keeps on giving, and really, for you specifically, we see ourselves as an extension of your classroom. So we're really excited to share with you all of this knowledge and everything you're going to see today to take back to your students. It's really our mission here, and we're really pleased to have this. Well, it is now my privilege to introduce to you a man who needs no introduction, Congressman French Hill. Congressman Hill has represented the 2nd District of Arkansas since 2015. He serves on the U.S. House Committee on Financial Services, where he was appointed to the committee's leadership team as Majority Whip. He has a very special connection to early Arkansas and is interested in preserving and promoting its heritage. One of his ancestors, Joseph Valliere, pronouncing that correctly, served as a commandant of the Arkansas Post from 1787 to 1790. And Congressman Hill was instrumental in securing the funds needed to build the keelboat replica, which is currently displayed outside in our fountain. He is a good friend and a supporter of our work here at the Clinton Presidential Center, and we are absolutely thrilled that he has taken the time to join us this morning. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present Congressman Hill. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everybody. Bonjour. It's great to have the Consul General from Houston here. Andre, Alex, thank you so much. And Beatrice, our honorary consul from Arkansas, Beatrice Moore, thank you for all the work you do in Arkansas. You know, this is a dream to see this come to fruition because Martha and I are major believers in the humanities. I spent 25 years over here at the Historic Arkansas Museum on the board, been very involved in historic preservation around the state for many years, led the effort to preserve the old French cemetery at New Gascony, Arkansas, where my relatives are buried on the north shore of the Arkansas River down in Jefferson County. And so it's, I think, exactly as Stephanie said. When we bring our resources from the Library of Congress and from the National Archives out to our presidential libraries and allow our teachers and our students exposure to them, that is absolutely one of the best ways to bring history alive. And as a frustrated wannabe history teacher and part-time author, I congratulate all of you for being here. And really, I salute David's work at the archives to cooperate in this manner. And also Carla Hayden, who is the terrific new Librarian of Congress that is in her position, who also at the Library of Congress wants to partner as well. So anytime our office can be of help to your school or your students in documents or access to materials at the National Archives or the Library of Congress, I hope you won't hesitate to reach out. Now, as Stephanie noted, I'm a ninth generation Arkansan. So Joseph Valliere was born in France and immigrated as a French soldier to New Orleans, where he married and was the commandant of Arkansas Post from 1787 to 1790, but he was there prior to that. But what was interesting is, as a Frenchman and as a French officer, he commanded the post under Spanish rule and was recognized by the Spanish government and carried the title Don for his recognition by the Spanish government. And the governor of Spain for Louisiana was in Havana, and de Valliere was recognized with a 1 million hectare land grant. 1 million hectare. The grant went from the mouth of the Norfolk, where you know Lake Norfolk and the North White River and the White River system. From there in the Buffalo River, it went all the way to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and as far north as, say, Lebanon, Missouri. So it was this massive land grant, and you can imagine how excited people would be to have that, but you had to perfect that land grant in colonial America. Then you had to prove the perfection had taken place when you became a territory. So in 1819, Valliere, long dead, had relatives, the Vosgines, and they fought between 1819 and a Supreme Court case in the 1870s to try to say that they had perfected that enormous land grant. They were unsuccessful, much to my grandmother and great-grandmother's chagrin. But we have terrific resources for French colonial history in the lower Mississippi here. It's why this is such a valuable topic. Two resource materials that I turn to that I think are very helpful. One is the National Park Service survey on Arkansas Post, which is a terrific resource on not only the Quapaw there and the three villages of the Quapaw and the history of the Post, but it really puts it in context with excellent maps and material like that, that if you then get Judge Arnold's books, Buzz Arnold's books about colonial Arkansas and the history of the relationship between the French, the Spanish, and the Quapaw and the Osage, you'll be able to put it in perspective with some really good, typical of the National Park Service, excellent resource material. The second one is last week, it didn't make the newspapers, of course, like anything good going on in Washington, but we voted unanimously in the House to name St. Genevieve a national park literally, I know many of you love New Orleans and you love Natchez, but the best French colonial architecture left in the country is St. Genevieve, just below St. Louis on the Mississippi River. There's really nothing quite like it, and the architectural study published by the National Park Service in preparation for this vote by Congress is also an incredible resource. So I commend you, the National Park Service architectural study for St. Genevieve. That bill has now joined some 400 other bills over in the Senate, waiting for those folks to wake up over there and do something significant. But do take a look at that. I think you'll find it very useful, particularly if you're doing anything on architecture. I found it so fascinating because of the architectural work done at Arkansas Post and the famous Quapaw robes, which are in the Museum of Man in Paris, which was one of the earliest depictions of colonial settlement structures and Native American settlement structures done in living color on the buffalo hide, famous picture, you've seen it before. But then when you compare that to the architectural review up at St. Genevieve, I found that a very interesting way to look at history. And there's nothing really, as I say, quite like the architectural studies at St. Genevieve. So I thank you for letting me come by and say hi today. Thanks for doing all that you do to preserve Arkansas history. I love the idea of fusing the humanities in this kind of comprehensive discussion. We need more of that. I'm sorry I missed the music last night. I was up in the far reaches of Van Buren County last night, so I couldn't be with you. But thanks for the invitation. Thanks for studying French and American history. And I'll say one final point to our Consul General from Houston. We're blessed in this state by having this deep, abiding French colonial history that we celebrate and we try to expose all of our kids to. And they can't help it because every place name in Arkansas has a French heritage, much of it. And we're proud to have Dassault Falcon Jet here, a great company in France. And everybody's passed the Maybelline plant on I-40 for 40 years, now owned by L'Oreal. So we are fully French in Arkansas. But for me, every morning when I go into the chamber of the House of Representatives in Washington, D.C., and walk in those magnificent doors and go into the centerpiece of democracy in our country, I see the two portraits of George Washington and the Marquis de Lafayette that hang in the House chamber in the U.S. Capitol as a permanent testament of the friendship between the French and the American people, and how we wouldn't be here today celebrating on the banks of the Arkansas River if it hadn't been for that friendship during the American Revolution. So thank you, sir, and vive la France. Thank you very much.